Okay, everybody, it's time we talk about this Yu Yu Hakusho live action adaptation on Netflix. This one hurts. This one hurts me right here. Look, man, I watched the first episode. To be honest with you, it was very hard for me to get past that first episode. It was a struggle. It was an absolute struggle. I'm a massive fan of Yu Yu Hakusho. You know, I have all the seasons on Blu-ray, and before that, I don't know how many guys remember. Before that, they released them individually on DVD. So there was like 30 DVDs for each saga, and I had the whole collection of DVDs. And then when they transferred them over to Blu-ray, I decided to get the Blu-ray. You know, 4 Blu-rays is a lot easier to store than like 50, DVDs. But massive fan of Yu Yu Hakusho. I've been a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho ever since it first debuted in America on Toonami. Back when I was a junior in high school, I discovered Yu Yu Hakusho. That was many years now, like over 20 years. And Yu Yu Hakusho is arguably my favorite anime. Like, there's three tied for my favorite anime. It goes Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, and Dragon Ball. And it just depends, right? I really love all three of those. You know, those are like my top three anime of all time. And when I seen Netflix was doing a live action adaptation of Yu Yu Hakusho, look, man, the trailers didn't grab me. The trailers did not grab me. And not only that, we already had the abomination of what they did to my show Cowboy Bebop, man. You know, I love Cowboy Bebop, and the Netflix show absolutely ruined it. You know, live action adaptations have not been kind to anime. There are a few out there that are the exception to the rule, but for the most part, they're not very good. You know, like I thought the live action Rurouni Kenshin movies were awesome. You know, I'm still mad that the fourth one is on Netflix and it never came to Blu-ray because I wanted to complete that set. I love Rurouni Kenshin, right? Like I said, it's arguably up there as my top, my number one favorite anime, Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Dragon Ball. So I didn't like what I was seeing from the trailers of Yu Yu Hakusho, but when it debuted, I sat down and I watched the first episode, and I will tell you this, guys. I will tell you this. As I've gotten older throughout the years, I started YouTube when I was like 21, 22. I'm going to be 40 next month. Over the years, I kind of matured, and I don't look at things the same as I always done in the past. And I think the people use the word trash very like loosely. Like, everything's trash. Oh, you don't like this one aspect of the movie? Well, the movie's trash. Like, this movie's trash. And they don't look at every aspect of like the acting, the directing, the filming, all that stuff. Like, oh no, it's just trash. Well, there's other aspects to a movie, and that's something I kind of learned as I matured over the years doing YouTube constantly. So I don't like to throw the word trash out there very loosely. I'll put it in my titles because we all know that those titles, get clicks. And I'm hoping why people are watching my videos that I kind of get them thinking about things. So I don't like using that stuff very much. But in terms of this show, look, man, this show is trash, man. This show is absolutely trash. The first thing is there's no emotional weight to anything that happens in this first episode at all. They're literally taking 30 to 35 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime, and they're condensing it down to a pathetic 5 episode, 1 hour long episodes. Like, that's what they're trying to do. Like, they're taking like this huge story arc and they're condensing it down into like practically nothing. And in the process of doing that, you're losing the emotional core, the emotional hook that you get with these characters. When Yusuke dies in the first episode of the anime, you go on this emotional journey where you start to follow all the people in his life and what he really means. And by the end of that episode, Yusuke is like, I wasn't aware. Like, this was, everybody knows, but I didn't know. Like, I didn't know people really cared. Keiko, Kuwabara, his mom, his principal, all this stuff, and all that was taken out and very briefly brushed over in the live action show. Like, I'm not even going to get to the fact that the music in the show is god awful. Why they didn't decide to take the anime music and bring it into the show, that might have helped a little bit. But not only did they ruin my favorite character, Kuwabara, what they did to Kuwabara is unforgivable. I cannot forgive what they did to Kuwabara. They absolutely ruined my boy Kuwabara, and to me, that is just unforgivable, and I cannot forgive them for what they did to Kuwabara. But not only that, that connection that you see with them in that first episode where Kuwabara shows up at his wake, and he's like, come out here, Yusuke, and then he's like, he starts to cry, and he's like, you're supposed to be here for me. All that is glossed over. None of that is really there. Kuwabara shows up, but it's not the same. And not only that, they take different elements. They're trying to combine like 3 or 4 different storylines. You have Yusuke, who died, who's decided like, hey, you know, no one cares, I'm gonna stay here. You got that. Then they do the story where later on in the anime, they go to like this tower, and they had to fight these like saint beasts or whatever. And on Earth, there's like these little mosquitoes going around turning everybody into zombies. And Yusuke and Kuwabara and Hiei and Kurama have to, you know, take out these 4 saint beasts or whatever in order to stop this invasion on Earth. Well, the mosquitoes thing happens in the very first episode. In fact, they kind of pull a Resident Evil 2 where the driver gets bit by one, becomes like a mutant zombie or whatever, and that's what ends up trying to hit the kid, and Yusuke pushes the kid out of the way. Completely different than the anime. And not only that, they're also adding by the end of this episode that Hiei, Harama, and the other guy that they were paired with earlier are looking for those 3 artifacts from King Enma. So they're trying to combine these 3 different things, and then they're trying to also plant the seeds of Toguro and going into the Dark Tournament, and all this is happening in one episode. This is something that was a slow burn, right? Which took place like 25 episodes of the first 25 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho. They're taking that 25 episodes and they combined it in the first 1-hour episode of this live action show, and it did not work. You had no emotional connection to any of these characters, right? The CGI did not look good, right? It was very, very soulless. This show was absolutely soulless. Like, there was nothing here that reminded me of the anime that I loved. The anime that I loved. Nothing here. It was absolutely... I don't want to use cash grab because it's on streaming service, but it's something that should never have happened. We should have never got a Yu Yu Hakusho live action. From the moment I saw the characters, the live action actors that's going to be playing the characters, I was like, what are they doing? Like what they did to this man right here, ladies and gentlemen. This man, Urameshi. What they did to him is absolutely unforgivable, right? Unforgivable. What they did to my boy. What they did to my boy. There is a moment in the first few episodes, the first like 15 episodes, where these guys are going on looking for these artifacts from Enma, and you see, you know, Kurama dealing with the pain of the woman who raised him dying, and he just wants to be able to make her better. And Yusuke, it's so emotional. Yu Yu Hakusho is an emotional roller coaster. It's about love. It's about family. It's about, you know, being alive and knowing what that means. And it also has action. And then you have like these tournaments, man. I remember the first tournament where Yusuke went into this tournament with Kuwabara, and the winner gets to be trained by Genkai. Like, that was an awesome tournament. Like Rando, I think the person they were fighting, like this demon guy, and he wanted to steal Genkai's power or whatever. Like, that was an awesome tournament. And then we come back and we do the Saint Beast saga, and then from there we go on to try to save Yukina, and then we go to the Dark Tournament, which the Dark Tournament, like, the Dark Tournament is peak Yu Yu Hakusho. It is the Dark Tournament. Arguably is one of the best story arcs in all of anime, right? Arguably it's one of the best story arcs in all of anime. And the fact that everything is just completely glossed over, and there's no heart to this. It feels like, to say that this show feels like a fan film would be an insult to fan films. Like, I'm just gonna say it. It's an insult to call this a fan film. Like I've seen fan films that look way better and would stay much more true to this. I'm not saying you have to put every little detail in a Yu Yu Hakusho, right? But I believe that there are certain bullet points within the anime that you need to hit. That first episode is like, you need to hit that first episode. You need to connect people with that emotional connection. I'm not telling you have to take Yusuke and have him go on his ordeal and all this stuff, and he has to like go into Keiko's dreams and all that stuff like they did in the first few episodes of Yu Hakusho. I think that stuff is important, but it's not like detrimental to the plot, right? But you need to hit those plot points. And when you're taking something and you're taking 35 episodes and you're condensing it down into what is nothing but like a 5-hour movie, it just does not work. It absolutely does not work. It's insulting to the franchise. It's insulting to the fan base. And it makes me skeptical. I tell my friend Danny comes on to my live stream all the time, and he wants a live action Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, you know what? Some things are meant to stay in the media that they are, right? Like some anime is just meant to be anime, right? Some comic books are just meant to be comic books. Some video games are meant to be video games. There's a reason why they exist the way they are, and sometimes an adaptation doesn't do it justice. We saw what they did to Cowboy Bebop. We saw what they did to Dragon Ball Evolution. We saw what they did to Death Note. You know, we saw what they did to all these different things. Sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. I love the Rurouni Kenshin movies. I love these movies. But we're talking about a wandering samurai in the Meiji era, right? That's much more easier and realistic to adapt rather than a guy dying, going to the spirit realm, and having a blue hair, hot Grim Reaper like Botan fall. And what, man, Botan, they messed my girl Botan up. And Koenma starts off as an adult already. I digress. What I'm trying to say is, Rurouni Kenshin is much more realistic and easier to adapt. It's basically a period piece. It's much more easier than having demons and going to a demon world, having a dark tournament and all this stuff. You know, sometimes things have to stay where they're at. I don't want to see a Dragon Ball live action movie. I am more than happy going to see these full length animated movies that they've been putting in theaters like Brawly and Superhero and all that stuff. I'm down with Dragon Ball staying as an anime and doing movies. I'm perfectly fine with that because it has the heart. You know, if you want to do Yu Yu Hakusho, then why don't you, like, I don't know, remaster it, reboot it, do something, or do a full length live action. Or not live action, but full-length animated Yu Yu Hakusho movie. Get back to voice actors. Get back to the music. This show is horrendous. Horrendous. Absolutely just god-awful. No, it's just awful. Like I said, I don't like to use the word trash that much anymore because I think it's misused a lot for everything. But this show, absolutely garbage. Garbage. So Yu Yu Hakusho, guys, have you seen it? If you have, I'm sorry. But if you haven't, avoid it. Avoid it now. But anyway, guys, be sure to leave those comments in the comment box below. Smash that like button. We're getting ready to go into the holiday season. I want to thank everybody for watching my videos, even though I've been kind of lazy and just kind of talking in a mic and not really having high production. But I just kind of wanted to get this off my chest. I love each and every one of you guys, by the way. You guys are awesome. Stay safe throughout the holidays. It's crazy time. And I will catch you guys next time. Later, guys.